Alexandra Levine welcomes you to the Alexandra Levine Live Podcast. Today, we've got a packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you well informed. So, please click the subscribe button to get notified of her upcoming episodes. If you like what Alexandra talks about, then please share the Alexandra Levine Live to others. Alexandra also looks forward to your comments during this episode. Tonight's Alexandra Levine Live Podcast starts now.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello, this is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. You are live with me tonight, Alexandra Levine. We have some major breaking news, but I do want to say my show tonight is dedicated to the very famous and talented Dolly Parton, as well as the very famous and talented actor Tim Curry. Unfortunately, both of those actors and singers, they died within days of each other. They both died at the same age at 80 years old, and our hearts go out to both of them. And later in the program, we'll be doing a tribute to Dolly Parton and so forth. But first breaking news comes out from the former 49ers owner. Let's put up the first slide. So this has been happening all over the place with these big names, these big shot owners. You know, they think they have the money and the power. This guy was actually separated from his wife doing this. They weren't divorced yet. So 49ers owner Jed York arrested in prostitution bust. Unbelievable. This guy is from Ohio. And he decided to, pay $140 to have his ding-a-ling, fling-a-ling. And he got arrested for it. I guess he didn't realize the state that he was at, prostitution is illegal. But, I mean, if I was his wife, oh, man, this is going to be great in a divorce settlement. I really hope she's got a great divorce attorney and a great financial advisor. If not, she can give my father a call, and we'll put his ass to the cleaners. Or take his ass to the cleaners, I should say. But when I read this, I couldn't believe an owner of a football, company, an owner of the 49ers would be a part of something like this. But like I said, men with money, with power like this, they think they can do no wrong. They think they're invincible. Guess what? You're not. Next breaking news. So, of course, as I said earlier in our breaking news, I'm dedicating my show tonight to Dolly Parton, the queen of country music. She died at 80 years old on August 25th. It was a blow to the country music era. This was a woman that was still performing up into her age. And the last time I saw her was live singing with the Dallas Cowgirls. And she looked, I'll be honest with you, prettier and younger than the Dallas Cowgirls that are out there. This woman really took care of herself. She toured all over the country and the world. She dedicated her life to helping children, to helping families. She created Dollyland. I mean, she was in movies. One of the very famous movies she was in was Steel Magnolias, which a lot of people remember. She did a cameo in a Sandra Bullock movie. I mean, this woman is just very famous, and we will continue to honor her and memorialize her. But again, our hearts go out to Dolly Parton and her family. And the next breaking news. So this was actually a big win. As you know, President Trump, he supported Darlene Graham. He wanted her to run to take over her brother's legacy, her brother's seat. As you know, Lindsey Graham passed away suddenly recently, and she had won in the primary against her and Ralph Northam. She didn't get 50%, so they had to do a runoff in the state of South Carolina. And of course, President Trump came to South Carolina, did a big, huge rally for her, got her over the hump, got her to win. And I mean, President Trump's endorsement is one of the most powerful endorsements. Again, he's the head of the Republican Party. He's only maybe, I think out of the hundreds of endorsements he's given, maybe 2 or 3 people haven't won out of those endorsements. And I don't blame President Trump for that. I blame the candidates, actually, because they opened their mouth and were stupid and said the wrong things like 2 weeks before the elections. But Darlene Graham is a wonderful woman. I think she will do great as the next U.S. Senator. I definitely think she will make it. She will beat the Democrat. And she's already doing a lot of stuff now, filling in for her brother. So our hearts go out again to her and the family. And congratulations, Darlene, and congratulations to President Trump for your endorsement winner. And let's go to the next breaking news. So this happened today. This was very historic, and Canada is pissed, and who cares? President Trump signs executive order renaming Lake Ontario to Lake America. It's literally on the American territory. It's between New York and Canada, but it's on the New York line if you look at a map. And he talked about doing this on the campaign trail. This is something that was in the works. Remember, he changed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which was very popular, which I love. I love that I live by the Gulf of America. And now people that live near Lake Ontario, it's going to be called Lake America. And if you don't call it Lake America, mainstream media, you'll be thrown out of the Oval Office. But he signed it into law. He renamed it. Google already rechanged the name of it. Apple Maps. It's Lake of America. God bless America. Screw you, the people, or the Prime Minister of Canada. You're a screwball. You're a socialist. You screw with the wrong people, and guess what? This is what happens. So, I say I applaud President Trump for this victory. I think it's great. I love it. And my question to my audience: what do you think about this? Do you support Lake America, or do you want it to stay Lake Ontario? Do you support calling it the Gulf of America, or did you like the Gulf of Mexico? I mean, you really don't have a choice now. You have to call what's on the map now. And also, teachers need to teach it as Gulf of America and Lake America. But I just want to know your thoughts. I want to know if you really like the change, if you think it was an important change, if you think this was insignificant. Some people that I know on Facebook, they thought this was irrelevant. This is like not important. But in a way, it is. It's very historic, and it'll be in the history books. And then let's go to the last breaking news. There was another breaking news, I think. Unless that was it. That might have been it. Sorry, that was me. So then this is very important breaking news. So for those of you, and we'll talk about this later, who have been following the Lindsay Clancy case, her attorney and the prosecutor had their closing arguments this morning. The jury is now in deliberation to either find her guilty of first-degree murder for all three of her children, or the stupid judge opened his big mouth and said that they could find her guilty of manslaughter, which would lower her sentence. Instead of getting life in prison, it would lower her to only 20 years in prison. I mean, she's a young girl. Was she in her 30s? So she'll be out by 50 and in her wheelchair. I mean, I would love the death penalty here. I don't think they'll give it to her. The defense is saying that, she killed her children due to her postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis, all the medication she was on. And her defense attorney is like, well, she was a really good mom, great nurse, no criminal record, great person. She didn't mean to do this. She was depressed. Nobody listened to her. She sought out help, didn't get the right help. The doctors gave her all this medication, didn't monitor, didn't care. I mean, that's how the defense is kind of spinning it. But if you actually listen to the closing arguments of the prosecutor, who's a woman, by the way, she actually puts it in concrete detail, the timeline. She brings up the medical professionals. She brings up all the help that Lindsay Clancy had. I mean, Lindsay Clancy had a nanny. She had her mother-in-law there, her mother there. She had family near her. I mean, her family and her had the resources to afford a nanny, to afford special care and childcare and everything. And she was very methodical in things. I mean, she told people after the fact that she had thoughts of possibly killing her kids, or actually her mother-in-law said 2 weeks before she thought about, killing her kids, or she said she heard hallucinations, or she heard voices, or whatever the hell. But she was afraid to tell a doctor, obviously, because she wanted a medical professional calling Child Protective Services and ripping the kids out of that home. That probably would have been better, because her 3 children would have been alive today. But the fact that she methodically killed the oldest one first, then the second one, then the baby, she did that methodically, because if she would have killed the younger one first, the other 2 would have found a way to escape and leave or call 911 or whatever. And the prosecution really laid that out, how methodically she premeditated this, how she thought it out, how at 4 o'clock to 5:30, how long it would take for her husband to go to CVS, to go to a restaurant and pick up food, to go to a restaurant that was like 15 minutes away from their house. And then she actually, on her phone, she Googled the time frame of from this place to this place. And her husband was like, why did she have to do that? She's been to this restaurant before. And they only had a window of time from 4 o'clock to 5:30. And she knew that he would call her at 5:33 to double check on the prescription. She picked it up right at 5:34. So, yep, that's the prescription that I need. And she knew that he had an extra 15 minutes to come back. And she also methodically knew that she was going to kill the 3 children, how she was going to kill them, and then she was going to try to kill herself. I think, in my opinion, she's upset that she's not dead. She's upset that she's been sitting in that wheelchair for 3.5 years and that she'll probably end up sitting in that wheelchair for life. But if the jury gives her manslaughter and only gives her 20 years, or if they find her not guilty, the justice system is flawed. There's something mentally wrong with people. There's something mentally wrong with the system. Massachusetts, as you know, is a very liberal state. The majority of the people on the jury are women. So I really hope that they take a look at the pictures, the very graphic pictures of how this woman methodically strangled her children, strangled them to death with exercise bands in the basement. She strangled one child, put him in a separate room, went to strangle another one. One was dead in the office. The other one, she made sure died in another setting. And then the baby actually wasn't officially declared dead until it got to the hospital, the 6-month-old. She had like a 6-month-old. She had 2 girls and a boy. And each of them had a future. You know, the boy wanted to be a doctor. The girl wanted to be, I think, a nurse or a doctor in the same field. Or I'm sorry, the girl wanted to be a doctor. The son wanted to be a firefighter. Like, these kids had dreams. They had goals in life. But you'll never know. And I mean, people have been saying, you know, why doesn't Lindsay Clancy just kill herself now? Like, why didn't she kill herself in jail? If she gets sentenced to jail, why doesn't she just kill herself then? Because she's going to have to live in that wheelchair. She can't do anything. And I love how the camera zooms in on her. I mean, she looks like a serial killer. She really does. But I hope that the jury really looks into this. I hope that they really look at the timeline, look at the medications, look how much medication she took, look that she did not follow how the doctor prescribed the medications, realize that she's a nurse. She knows the medication. She knows what they do. I know for a fact she did not take every single medication that the psychiatrist prescribed her and the doctors prescribed her. And I know for a fact that the day in question, the day that she murdered her children, she was off a lot of those meds. And, you know, she just pretended that she didn't know what was going on. And then after she murdered her children, she focused more on herself. She didn't say, I killed my children, didn't ask where they were. I mean, she was not expecting to be alive that day. She was expecting to be dead. I mean, she slit her wrists. And as a nurse, you would think that the woman would know how to slit her own wrist to kill herself, but apparently she didn't know, so maybe she's not such a good nurse. She slit her wrist in a way where she would still be alive. She slit a little bit of her throat, and then she jumped out of the second floor window, and paralyzed herself. And her husband came home to this mess. I think in a way she was trying to frame her husband. I think in a way she was upset because her husband was having an affair with a doctor in New York, and she knew about it, and she probably murdered his kids or their kids as a way of revenge. We see a lot of stories like that. I've heard a lot of stories like that. It's the Greek mythological story of Jason and Medea. But it also reminds me of the story of the movie Primal Fear with Edward Norton and Richard Gere and Myra Tinney. It's a very famous movie where Edward Norton, you know, pretends to be insane and has multiple different personalities. And, you know, he killed the bishop because, you know, he had this multiple personality guy named Roy who, you know, he just couldn't, you know, shake. And he pretended that he was this guy, Aaron. And then at the end of the movie, they found out there was no Aaron. He was actually this killer Roy from the beginning. And it's kind of the same here in this sense. You know, the defense is acting like she's an Aaron, like she's a wonderful person, wonderful mother, great person, would never do such a thing. But then at the end of the day, she's a Roy. She's really a Roy. At the end of the day, she's really a murderer. She's really a killer. And I mean, people need to understand that. Yeah, I agree with Craig Sanders here. You know, murder is murder, premeditated planning. I agree with that 100%. I mean, I really hope that the jury finds her, you know, guilty for life. I really do. And people need to understand that this is serious stuff. And I'll talk about later in segment 1, or actually I'm going to go into segment 1 right now. Segment 1, and I'll focus on it a little bit. Disgusting is that some of these women, like that wore the pink hats and the pink pussies. It reminds me of Code Pink. They're all supporting her. They all think the husband did it. They all think that she is a victim. And I agree with the prosecution that nobody has really said the children's names. Nancy Grace, she's an attorney. She was on Sean Hannity. She says nobody talks about the children. I mean, I didn't really know what their names were until recently. And we need to memorialize their names. We really do need to memorialize them. I think it's Corey, Dawn, and I forgot the baby's name. See, because they don't talk about the baby. They don't talk about the children. They talk about her. They talk about her husband. But the woman admitted she killed her children. She admitted to being psychotic. She admitted she was on all these meds. And I mean, I don't know how any defense could defend her. I mean, everyone's saying, oh, her attorney is great, but he's got to spin it in a way where she gets off. And that's very hard to spin. This is not an O.J. Simpson case, guys. It's not an O.J. Simpson case where you can spin it and put a glove on a guy and it doesn't fit. And the glove shrank, by the way. I mean, this is not an O.J. Simpson case. It's literally black and white. But I applaud the men out there that are breaking up with their girlfriends and their fiancés because they're breaking up with their fiancés and their girlfriends because their girlfriends and fiancés are supporting this woman. They're supporting what she did. They're supporting postpartum depression, psychosis. They're like, this is a real thing. And postpartum depression is a real thing. I've talked to a lot of mothers. I'm not a mother, but my sister has had 3 children. She went through postpartum depression with her 3rd child, but not to the point where she wanted to kill her children. She loves her children. And if every single woman wants to claim that postpartum depression caused them to kill their children, that's sick. That's why it's very important that this woman is not found. That's why it's very important that this woman is found guilty. Because if she's found not guilty, then any single woman in the state of Massachusetts who claims they have postpartum depression can kill their child and blame it on postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis. I believe that this woman was bipolar. I know people that are bipolar. The medication is very intense. If you do not take your bipolar medication, after a few weeks, you become something called manic, but you don't become manic to the point where you want to kill someone. You become manic to the point where you yourself do things to yourself, or you act in a weird manner, meaning you may get into a car and go to a far along place. You don't become manic to the point where you actually kill your children or kill someone or kill your husband or kill someone in front of you. A lot of this medication that she was on were a lot of downers. Lorazepam is a downer. Klonopin is a downer. Zofran and Prozac, they're a little bit more of uppers. When you take antidepressants, they do cause you to become more depressed. They do cause you to be more of an upper, but it causes you more to commit suicide, not causes you to commit homicides. And I've talked with a lot of psychologists about this and a lot of psychiatrists about this. And, if you monitor your dose properly and if you don't take all these medications at once, which she wasn't doing, you should know after a week or so if the medications are working. You should know after a week or so if you're having side effects from them. And they always say the first sign of a side effect of a medication, you get off of it. It's the same thing with new contact lenses. If you're having problems with your new contact lenses, get rid of them. I just got new contact lenses. I'm trying to adjust to them. I had a massive headache yesterday because they're brand new, but I'm giving them another day. I'm giving them another try. Headache's gone away. It's not 100% gone, but I got to give time for it to adjust. But that's only day 2. Am I going to freak out, if it's not working for me tomorrow, the next day? No, you try and try and try until it works for you. The same thing when people go on GLP-3s. If you have bad side effects, maybe you should start a lower dose. A lot of people that are on GLP-3s that have bad side effects, it's because they started too high of a dose. You have to start at a very low dose, like 0.25 or 0.5 or 1 milligram. Don't start at 2.5. Don't start at 5. Don't start at 7. That's the problem. People start at way too high of doses. Yeah, you'll lose a lot of weight, but you'll get a lot of symptoms. You'll get nausea. You'll get hair thinning. You'll get diarrhea, maybe constipation. You always want to start small and then go up. You don't want to deal with nausea. It's awful. And then you'll be calling your doctor for Zofran, and they don't prescribe it that much. You're not even supposed to really be on Zofran. That's like you take that once in a blue moon. But I got very much involved in this case when I saw it all over TikTok and all over Instagram. I didn't even know who this Lindsay Clancy woman was. And this is going to make a great Lifetime movie one day. It really did. It really is. I can tell. But it's really disturbing. It's really shocking that any woman would defend this woman. And what's sick is that the women that are dressed in pink were holding their own children. Where's Child Protective Services to take their children away? If I was Child Protective Services watching that, a woman holding her baby, defending a woman who murdered 3 of her children innocently, I would question that woman's ability to be a mom. I'd question a lot of things. I mean, you don't want Child Protective Services coming at your door. They take your child away, you may never see your child again. They'll put them from foster home to foster home to foster home. And that can really wreck your child's life. But if you are a mother and you're supporting a mother who murders her children innocently, in cold blood, there's something mentally off with you. And you really should not have control of your children. My friend Amy said, I'm nervous since the jury didn't have a fast answer that they will end up being a hung jury. I hope not. I mean, the defense attorney would love a mistrial here. I really hope not. I mean, I kind of said the same thing. I was shocked that the jury didn't come out with a verdict right away. But they're looking into everything. And again, as I said earlier, there's majority women on this jury field. It's Massachusetts. Majority of them are liberal women. I doubt they voted for Trump. The judge is a libtard because he threw the idea in the jury's head that they could find her for manslaughter. It's a lower sentence. I'm really pissed that the judge did that. That's, in my opinion, tampering with the jury. That's jury tampering because he's giving the jury thought of how they should deliberate and how they should determine her fate. Like I said, if any of those jury women are mothers, I hope they really take a look at the graphic photos of what this woman did to her children. Like, it would make me sick. It would really, if I looked at like 3 innocent lives strangled by an exercise bar, I would be sick to my stomach. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. I'd be like, what the hell? But this is America, guys. And again, you're innocent until proven guilty. But I can tell you, I do not support this woman. I would never support this woman. And any woman that does support this woman needs to have her head examined. I fully believe, and I'm not an attorney, but I have families that are attorneys, and I have family that have worked for the DOJ and the FBI over the years. And I have a lot of friends that have legal minds, and I have a legal mind, and I've done a lot of legislation in my lifetime. This looks premeditated. This looks intentional. I believe that this woman killed her kids to hurt her husband because her husband was cheating on her, and he ended up marrying the woman that he cheated on her with months after this incident happened. So there was some, vitriol and hate towards the husband, big time. And like I said, I feel like this is a Jason/Medea case. I really do. If you don't know about the story of Jason and Medea from Greek mythology, I'd advise you go read it. I'd advise you to go read it. Let's put up the first slide, because the first slide is actually not talking about Lindsay Clancy, but let's put up the first slide. So we're switching gears a little bit. So segment 1 talks about circumcision or castration. I'm waiting for my producer to put up the first slide. There we go. There was a little bit of a delay. I love modern technology, let me tell you. So this is a very important quote, and I found this on X, and I found this on Facebook too, and everybody should be honing in on this. Republicans who stay home elect Democrats. I agree with that. Like Abdul, God forbid. We don't want Abdul Rahman as the next senator of Michigan. We need Republicans to come out in large numbers for Mike Rogers in Michigan. No excuses. You cannot sit this one out. And I agree. And I'm going to say it again. Republicans who stay home elect Democrats. Doesn't matter what state you live in. I know people are like, oh, I live in Maryland, I live in Massachusetts, I live in liberal states, I'm a Republican, my vote doesn't count. BS. You have the right to vote. You must exercise your right to vote. Especially in hardcore Republican areas, we need a high Republican turnout. Like, for example, my friend Tim Fazenbaker, my colleague, my friend, is running in Baltimore County, Baltimore County Councilman, District 9, a very MAGA, America First district. He had the most Republicans that came out for him during the primary out of all the other Republican councilmen. We are expecting a very high Republican turnout for him in the general. We need it. We need those 3 to 4 star Republicans to come out in November and vote for Tim Fazenbaker in Baltimore County, because that area is so hardcore MAGA, so America First. We can't have independents and Democrats vote Democrat. We have to get independents to vote for Tim and even some Democrats to vote for Tim. We have a lot of moderate Democrats in Baltimore County, and the majority of them do vote Republican. That's why we have 3 sitting Republican delegates and a Republican state senator over there. And this is Dundalk, Essex, Edgemere area, and Sparrows Point. That's all hardcore Trump country. That is Trump country, that area. I know that area very well. And so does my friend Amy Mack on the feed here. She knows the area well too. But it's very important, guys, that we get high Republican turnout. And as you know, President Trump is putting together a midterm convention in September, right before Rosh Hashanah, the 9th and the 10th of September in Dallas, Texas. And it's going to be huge. It's going to be a lot of voters. It's going to be a lot of donors. It's going to be a rally to get people to go out to vote. The Senate seat in Texas, it should not be up for grabs. It should just go straight to the Republican. The fact that the polls are close between this Tallarico moron and Ken Paxton is insane. I don't like to see crap like that. Up here in Ohio, Vivek will be the next governor of Ohio, but you have these freaking poll people that are screaming, Vivek is losing. Amy Acton's going to take it. She's a socialist Democrat. And then freaking Abdul Rahman. He shouldn't even be close to the Senate race. Not even close. And yeah, we don't say socialist communists anymore, Donald, because that messaging doesn't work for Republicans. We call them jihadists. They are jihadists. That's what Abdul Rahman is. That's what the guy who's running for Congress in New Jersey, Adami or Hamami, sounds like Hamas. His name is Adam Hamami. And he was a part of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. He supported 9/11. He supported the Twin Tower attacks in 94. He's disgusting and a disgrace. And because of the gerrymandering, he may be a congressman in New Jersey, a freaking terrorist, a jihadist, as a new congressman in New Jersey. Thank God that the state of Wisconsin didn't want Miss Hong, because she was crazy, DSA candidate. But there's a DSA candidate, Democrat nominee running for the United States Senate in Florida. I do not believe that she will win, but the fact that she even became the nominee is really sad. That guy Vindman lost. He wasn't far left enough. Actually, it's a blessing for Ashley Moody that she gets to go up against this Ashley Nixon moron, who went on a podcast and screamed, if Governor Ron DeSantis runs for another thing, I'm going to be on his ass. Can I say ass? And the guy was like, yeah, you can say ass. She goes, on his ass. It was so ghetto. And I put up the video. I got like 50,000 views. But do you really want a senator, a U.S. senator, where you have to say his full name, Abdul Rahman Mohammed El Sayed? And if you don't pronounce it right, don't even say his name? Yeah, it's true. She was. Amy Acton was also. She was appointed by Governor DeWine as the head of HHS, the head of the Department of Health for the state of Ohio. I know all about her. She was all about pushing the vaccines and mask mandates and everything. And Abdul will be the same way. Abdul Rahman will promote and push Sharia law. And so will all these other Muslims that are running. And there's Muslims that are running in very Republican districts in Maryland that wear hijabs, and they won't tell you that they wear hijabs, but you have to really look into their Facebook account and see hijabs being worn and saying to yourself, is that what I want in my county and in my district? Do I want my county, my state, and my district being taken over by this Islamic jihadist or this Islamic ideology? I can tell you when I was in Baltimore County during early voting, I saw 2 women completely covered and just showing their eyes. They were wearing garbs where they were completely covered and their eyes were just shown. I felt like I was in Gaza. Now, I know there's a bunch of mosques in Dundalk, but that will happen if you put that Islamic ideology in Dundalk. That's why Tim Fazenmaker is the only choice. But yeah, look what's happened in New York City with Mandami. That's why local races are very important. Congressional, federal races are very important too. But that's how these freaking Islamists are getting in, through local races, county council races, county executive races, mayoral races, gubernatorial races. People really need to focus on the local races. But Michigan, man, they put Abdul Rahman. You can kiss Michigan goodbye. He's not going to all of a sudden act like a Republican, maybe unless he has a stroke. This guy is full-on jihadist. He supports Hezbollah. His in-laws are part of Hezbollah. That's why it's very important that we cannot have this man in. Let's put up the next slide. So this is by Newt Gingrich. Newt Gingrich was the former Speaker of the House. He says, Democratic Senate candidate in Michigan, Abdul al-Sayed, was deliberately lying on Jesse Waters when he compared circumcision to castration. Waters was asked about passing a law to stop young boys from being castrated, and al-Sayed, who like all good big government socialists, has to be fanatically pro-genderized or pro-transgender, knew that he could not say he was willing to outlaw castration for young boys, and he threw most Michiganders would oppose someone who thought it was okay to castrate young boys, so he simply lied and drew a false analogy to hide his real beliefs. We're going to see a lot of this from left-wing candidates all across America this fall. When in doubt, lie is their basic game plan. And this is an example of what Newt Gingrich was talking about. Let's play the video.
So you think it's okay for a parent to slash his kid's thing-a-ling off? You think that's okay?
I mean, do you really want to have this conversation? Are you circumcised?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a
Jesse,
personal question.
Okay,
doctor.
So you probably should want to move on. You probably should want to move on.
Circumcision's different than castration.
I think it's a problem. It's a problem that you think that you get to decide what happens between a parent, a doctor, and a patient. And I'm just saying that, yes, circumcision is surgery on a kid's ding-a-ling. So if you really want to bring that up, you can. I just think you guys are really selective about how you want to talk about these things.
Abdul, Michigan's not going for that. That is sick stuff.
Let me tell you something. There's a big difference between circumcision and castration. I know this because I'm a Jew. And in Judaism, it is customary for a young Jewish newborn, a boy, age 8, to be circumcised. But circumcision is not cutting off your entire dingling. It's just cutting off the foreskin. It is your covenant between you and Hashem. It is knowing that you are part of the Jewish covenant. And you don't get it done by a doctor. You go to someone called a moil, normally a Orthodox rabbi or a conservative rabbi. And you have a ceremony with your family and they do prayers and they have the kid numb his tongue with wine and they cut the foreskin off. They don't cut your entire penis off. For this guy to compare circumcision to castration is insane. It's insane and asset. And he's following the laws of the former governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. Remember Tim Walz under executive order. He said that kids have the right, if they want to change their bodies from man to woman and vice versa, they can do that at the age of 3 without parental consent. This is so disgusting. This guy, God forbid he becomes a senator in Michigan, he's okay with a man wanting to cut off his genitals to be a woman. There was a story recently, a grown man, I think 36 years old, crazy idiot, went into his family's barn, cut off his entire penis, put his penis on fire, and threw his penis in the middle of the barn and burned the whole entire barn down. That's a 36-year-old man, castrated himself, cut his entire ding-a-ling, put it on fire. I mean, I thought this was a fake story. I couldn't believe this story. I mean, is that sick or what? And this was a grown-ass man. So Abdul Rahman is allowing a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old to tell a doctor, cut my entire penis off and make me a woman? Are you kidding me? And then he says, well, circumcision, it's cutting off your ding-a-ling too. No, it's not. It's your foreskin, you moron. And I know there's like a group out, with a bunch of crazy ass, liberal ass women that don't support circumcision. Let me tell you something. Circumcision is not just for religious purposes, it is for cleanliness purposes as well. They do say that when you keep the foreskin on, it can cause a lot of infection with the male. That's another reason why we as Jewish males, circumcise ourselves out of cleanliness. Also, statistically, most men that are circumcised are, especially in the Jewish religion, are least likely to obtain an STD or any type of bladder infection or so forth because they don't have the foreskin on their genitalia. That's a true fact. So to attack someone for being circumcised is asinine compared to allowing to completely whack off their entire penis. I mean, the fact that Abdul Rahman was trying to undercut this or placate it or downplay or whatever, spin it, you can't spin it. And what did we get out of it? Well, ladies, Jesse Waters is circumcised. Congratulations. What bothered me after that interview is Jesse Waters actually said, oh, I like Abdul Rahman. Nice guy. I think he'd be a crappy senator, but I actually like the guy. How can you like a guy like that? How can you like an Islamist? I would never like that guy. Never. And again, I want to say my message to my fellow Jewish Democrats. Do not vote this man into power. I know that there's a lot more Jews that are #Jexiting the Democrat Party and they're voting Republican. I've talked to a lot of Jewish Democrats in Michigan that are planning to vote for Mike Rogers. That's what you have to do. You have to vote for the person that represents you, not the other way around. It's very important, guys. You do not want an Abdul Rahman in your midst. You do not want him as your senator, your governor. You don't want it. Let's put up the last slide for the break. So this, again, goes back to Lindsay Clancy. And I know I talked about her a lot because this is a big case that's been going on. I agree. You don't want to have a long jury on this. You don't want the jury deliberating for longer than 2 or 3 days, especially when it comes to a murder trial. Or you could say, well, the jury's just really going through the evidence because there's a lot there. 0 men in America would show up to cheer for a man who killed all 3 of his kids at his murder trial. 0. That's true. If you notice, again, like I said, you see women out there holding their babies, wearing pink shirts, pink hats, like Code Pink, and you don't see any men there. 0 men. And as I said earlier, a lot of men are breaking up with their fiancés and they're breaking up with their girlfriends who support this Lindsay Clancy. There was actually a text message from a girl. She was supposed to get married like 2 weeks ago. I think her wedding is in 2 weeks. And she supports Lindsay Clancy, and her fiance said, I'm sorry, I can't marry you. And she's like, why? Because we have a difference of opinion. He's like, it's not about a difference of opinion. It's how you morally think. Like, you're okay with this woman murdering her children. Like, what if we had children? And it makes a man think. It makes a man think, if I was married to this woman and we had children, do I have to worry that she's going to kill our children? Do I have to worry if I leave the house, something's going to happen? When you drop your kids off at school, a parent never thinks to themselves, is my child going to be alive when I come pick them up? When you go out, or when you either leave your children home with a nanny, or when one parent's at home and another parent goes out to buy groceries, the husband or wife does not think that their spouse would go out of their way to murder. He did not think that he was going to come back to a murder scene. He thought everything was fine. She actually texted him early that day that she was having a good day. She went to the doctors with her youngest baby. And they took pictures together, and she was sending pictures to her mother-in-law, like everything was fine. That was her defense. How could I murder my children? I was happy today. I had a happy day. Donald Aldrin said, I know men would take care of a man who kills his children. I know what he means by that. Yeah, I think she'll have a tough time in prison too. I mean, if I was her, I wouldn't want to live with myself. Like if I was her and I was sentenced to life in prison, I wouldn't want to live in prison. I wouldn't want to rot. I mean, people have told me she should just finish the job. She's got nothing to live for. She's in prison for life. Why doesn't she just take her life? She's going to be there for life. Unless they give her manslaughter. Then she's there for 20 years and she can maybe handle being in that wheelchair for 20 more years. Yeah, Amy Max says, I'm a retired corrections officer. They only go after the pedos in prison. They don't give child killers the justice we want, unfortunately. Yeah, I agree. And she also said the 3-year-old doesn't have the capacity to understand what that means. This is why we as parents protect and take responsibility of them until they are an adult and can make their own educated decisions. Yeah. That has to do with transgenderism. But yeah, it's very important, guys. This is why I named the episode tonight Trials. Trials of life, trials going on, trials in your life, trials, tribulations. But to think, to do this to your children, to think that this is okay, that you can kill your children and get off and plead insanity. That didn't even work back in King Henry's times. It's very rare to get off on insanity. Very rare. I mean, you have to be really screwed up. And this woman just started medications from September until December of 2023. It's not like she was on it for years and years and years. She had 3 children under the age of 5. She hadn't been married to her husband that long either. I mean, you can attack the husband for cheating on her. That's fine. Adultery is a commandment that thou shalt not commit adultery. I mean, he broke a very solemn and solid commandment. So you can hate him for doing that. But for these women to accuse him of killing the children, or there was some ridiculous woman that said, oh, well, she was so drugged up that when she came home, or when Patrick came home and saw, everything, he convinced her just to say that I did it. Like after he killed everybody and tried to kill her, she was so drugged up that he said to her, you need to admit that you did it. The guy wasn't even there during the time that she killed her children. He was out getting errands. Crazy. But anyway, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back. Don't forget our affiliate sponsor, FolioandPX.com. Toxic heavy metals, super antioxidants. There we go. Full body detox, free radical support. This is a great, great supplement. And I take it. It's great for energy. It's great for hemorrhoids. It's great for immune system. It's great for headaches. I love Folium PX. I love what these things can do. It also prevents against cancer. Any type of cancer, you have stage 1 to stage 4. I mean, the guy is a naturopath. He was born in the country of Georgia, Jewish guy, Jewish doctor. We've had him on the show, Dr. Bambry. We love him. Please, guys, go to FolioandPX.com. Take care of yourself. It's very important. We'll be right back after the break.
America's Pulse Network. Amplify your voice with the premier conservative podcast network. Are you a standard bearer for liberty, free markets, and traditional values? Stop fighting the algorithms alone. Join a powerhouse community of like-minded creators dedicated to uncensored truth and professional growth. Here is why to partner with us. Who are we looking for? Ready to scale your podcast? Then apply today to protect your voice and grow your audience.
Well, hey guys, I'm back. That was a very quick commercial break. We do have my friend, Republican nominee for U.S. Senator of New Jersey, Justin Murphy. He was calling me while I was live. I'm going to have my producer reach out to him now and see if we can get him on. He is driving right now, and he is whatchamacallit, so busy with his schedule in his life. We're so happy that he is able to take the time out for us. So let's see if we can get him on the phone. And if we can't, then we'll follow up with him next time that he's available. But I couldn't listen to his message because I was live. No, my producer's calling him now. But Justin is running up against this incumbent a-hole named Cory Booker. Cory Booker has been in the Senate for a while. He's an anti-Semite, anti-American, racist. We found out recently that he had an affair with AOC after he was just newly married. He's a pig. He's dated a lot of celebrities like Rosario Dawson, for example. He's got $1 million into his bank account, but he does nothing for charitable things. He does nothing to combat anti-Semitism. And there's a lot of Jews that live in New Jersey. So I educate my fellow Jews in New Jersey, my fellow Jewish Democrats. I have a lot of them that live in Livingston and Franklin Lakes and Tenafly, New Jersey, and Cherry Hill, all big Jewish areas. So please vote for Justin Murphy. Please, hashtag Jexit the Democrat Party and vote for Justin Murphy for U.S. Senate. We need to make a change, a real change. And Justin is so knowledgeable, and he knows the Constitution like no other. He's a Reagan Republican. He really supports the people of New Jersey. He has been traveling all over the state. He's gone county to county, event to event. That's why it's so hard to get him on, because he's so busy. People want him. Same thing with my friend and colleague Damon Gallo, who's also running for Congress in CD1. And Justin's such a great guy, very smart, knowledgeable guy. He's known for his hair. We love his hair. He's got full head of hair. That's wonderful for a guy his age. I think he's like 60 years old, but he doesn't look it. Like, he looks amazing. Like, I tell him, like, I spilled the beans, but I was like, don't tell people how old you are, because you don't look it at all. He looks like he's in his 40s. He really keeps himself. But, he's been on our show multiple times. We featured him on The Pulse. He's always, he's a regular. He's always welcome on our show. And, okay. So unfortunately, Mr. Murphy was called into another meeting. So we'll have to reschedule him. But, I just want to kind of talk him up a little bit. He's just a really great guy, really smart guy, and very intelligent. And I appreciate him and what he's doing. I'm very happy that the people in New Jersey voted for him for the primary. But now it is time for all New Jerseyans to come together and vote for him in the general. It's very important. So let's go now to segment 3. So segment 3 is a very special segment for me. As I said earlier in the show, my show is dedicated to Dolly Parton and Tim Curry. Both, were famous actresses and actors. Tim Curry was very famous for being the lead in Spamalot on Broadway. And also he was very famous for portraying the famous doctor in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. The famous song, I'm a Sweet Transvestite. Nobody can really play that role like Tim Curry can. They're playing it now on Broadway a little bit, but it's really hard when you see like the originals and the people behind the scenes. Dolly Parton has played in some very big movies like Steel Magnolias, and she's written songs, and there's some other movies too. I'm blanking. I've been watching clips of her in Steel Magnolias, and she was just fabulous. But she's just a very famous woman. And she was like a billionaire, but she was very modest about it. Like, she didn't spend like a fiend. She gave a lot to charity. She had her famous Dolly World, where she donated a lot of money to charity. And she was just a great entertainer. Sang at the Grand Ole Opry, sang with Miley Cyrus, sang with some younger artists. And I think her latest, I saw her perform with the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowgirls, cheerleaders. She looked amazing. This woman looks great for her age. She's had a lot of work done along the way, but whoever her doctor was, man, I want that doctor's number. I really do. but she just had a beautiful smile to her, a beautiful grace. And, you know, we love her, you know, as a person, as an entertainer. As you know, I'm a professional opera singer, so I support a lot of professional singers and actors. I support their craft. When they get into politics, you know, that's where I have an issue. One very, you know, famous interview she did with, I think, like 60 Minutes, the guy was asking about Donald Trump, and she's like, I don't want to get into all that. I don't want to talk about Donald Trump. I don't want to talk about politics. I just want to talk about singing. If you're trying to get personal with me and push the subject, it ain't gonna happen, honey. And she stayed true to her word. She did not attack Donald Trump. I think she was, in my opinion, I think she was conservative. I think she voted for Donald Trump. She was big on the vaccine. A lot of people were upset about that. She did push for the vaccine, but she's an older person, and I think she was trying to help. In my opinion, I don't think she was saying like, if you don't take the vaccine, you know, you're gonna die. You know, she was just taking the advice of the doctors. And unfortunately, as a singer, a lot of people, especially myself, were mandated to take the vaccine. I chose life over death. I do not have one jab of the vaccine in my body. And as a result, I can breathe, I can sing. I actually sang last night at an event, that's why I'm a little bit hoarse today, because I sang a lot last night at a huge event, and I hit those high notes. But if I got the vaccine, I wouldn't be able to sing last night. I wouldn't be able to sustain breath. I wouldn't be able to travel like I do. So I'm so grateful to her and grateful for her messaging. And let's put up the first slide. So this was actually President Trump honoring her. And that was the outfit she wore. Look how hot she looks. I mean, look how amazing she looks. I'm going to say, I mean, I'm not a lesbian, but I'm going to say she looks beautiful. Very, very sexy woman for 80 years old, close to 80 at the time. He said, very sad to report that Dolly Parton, one of the greatest country singers and far beyond ever, has just passed away. This is a true loss for millions of people. There has never been anyone like her and never will. In her honor, I'm lowering the American flag throughout the United States for a 1-week period beginning tonight at 6 p.m. Rest peace, Dolly. The world loves you, President Donald Trump. So he lowered the American flag at half staff. He's doing it for a week. And that's the President of the United States honoring her. So if she was such a hardcore anti-Trump person, I don't think he would honor her. Then on the flip side, you have this idiot named Jelly Roll, who like 2 years ago praised Trump. And he goes on Jimmy Kimmel and he attacks Trump, calls Trump fat, completely attacks him. And it was disgusting. And he's lost a lot of viewers because of it. A lot of people won't listen to his music. So Jelly Roll says, well, if you support Donald Trump, I don't want you to listen to my music. If you don't like my cameo with Jimmy Kimmel, screw you. Forget you. And it was just so unnecessary. It was so unnecessary what he did. And it was so unnecessary, that he had to do that he had to go there, considering that he praised President Trump like 2 years ago. So the guy has literally a screw loose. When you see the guy, he's like decked out with like all these like ridiculous tattoos all over his face and body. And the guy lost a lot of weight on Ozempic. He didn't do it the natural way, like a normal person. He went on freaking GLP-1s and, lost weight that way. Didn't do it the natural way. So I have no sympathy for him. But hey, karma's a bitch. It'll come back to bite him. But I do want to play a couple of videos of Dolly Parton for people, especially my younger viewers that didn't know her singing her songs. So her.
You hear that? My microphone? I just sound like a typewriter. So I would just stand over to the side, and every day I would write a little bit, go home at night, get my guitar, and finish it up. But this is how I started. I tumble out of bed and stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition, yawn and stretch and try to come to life. How you like it so far? I jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the streets, the traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5.
That is amazing. So that was her favorite famous song that she wrote, 9 to 5. For her to just, she always had these long acrylic nails, she said, and she was just like playing with her nails one day. And she's like, I like the beat. I like the rhythm. And that's how it kind of started. And she actually did some recordings of her just filming her, with her nails. And that was copyrighted and trademarked incorporated. They called it like the nails, the nail clipping. And I just think that's brilliant. Such a brilliant mind, such a brilliant musician. Let's play the next video.
Jolene, 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 Jolene. Jolene, please don't take him just because you can.
So Jolene was also a very famous song. You know, it was about her, and you know, she was in love with her man, and her man was kind of going off with another woman that he saw, was a little bit prettier, a little bit sweeter. And Jolene was like her best friend. And she says, Jolene, like, please, Jolene, like, don't take my man because he can. You know, you see that I love him, and without him, I'd be nobody. And I see that he's likened to you, and he's going to come around to you. But if you do that, I'll have nobody. So please, Jolene, I'm begging you as your friend, I'm begging you. Please don't take my man because he can. And it's a very famous song. A lot of people have revised the song, redone the song. Dolly Parton and Miley Cyrus did a big New Year's Eve thing recently. It was gorgeous. If you hadn't seen it, please go on YouTube and watch it. To see Miley Cyrus blossom, to see Miley Cyrus kind of, I don't want to say take on her legacy, but be like her protege in a way. Because Miley Cyrus was like a huge, you know, started out doing country, then went to like pop, and now she's like back to country again. And I've seen that a lot. I've seen a lot of artists like Kid Rock, for example, who loved Dolly Parton, used to perform with her. I saw him during his Ba With Da Ba years when he was a hard rocker, heavy metal guy, and then branched all the way over to country and has had great success. Carrie Underwood, American Idol winner. She went full on country. She's been honored by the Grand Ole Opry. You know, she's a protege of the country music era, and country music is really thriving. Country music, a lot of Christians listen to country music. There's a lot of Christian country music out there. I've in the beginning, I'll be honest, I wasn't really a country fan, but I am now. You know, I am now. I would say in the last several years. I love Jason Aldean. I'm a big Jason Aldean fan, and I got to see him live at Trump's inaugural ball this past year, or sorry, 2027. So, or not 2027, what the heck? 2025. Hello. I'm off a couple of years, but thinking ahead already. But I mean, it's so beautiful to see the people that she's inspired. It's so beautiful to see people, you know, young people singing her songs. I mean, she gets royalties from that. That's all royalties. And remember, President Trump signed into law that singers get to keep their royalties. And I mean, that's a beautiful thing. So anytime, you know, we play Jolene, she gets a royalty. Every time you guys go on YouTube or the radio, you hear Jolene or you hear 9 to 5, she gets a royalty. Even though she's dead, the royalties still come. It goes to her beneficiaries, her contingent beneficiaries. And she was very close to her husband. He died recently. People talked about her getting remarried. She says, no. She says, I only had one love in my life, and that's it. And let's play this last video of her. This was her at the Grand Ole Opry.
I jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the street, the traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Yeah, working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Barely get.
Oh, I thought there was more. But anyway, but that's her famous song, and she sang that everywhere. And she just, again, became an icon. She also did a cameo in a Sandra Bullock movie. And of course, I'm blanking on it. It was Sandra Bullock. She was like vying to be a pageant girl. And this was the sequel to like the first Sandra Bullock movie where she was ugly and then became pretty. It'll come to me probably after the show. But she did a cute little cameo. And Sandra Bullock talked about working with Dolly Parton, how it was such an honor and such a dream. And you know, when you hear of people like Betty White passing away or Dolly Parton or some of these great actors, I think James Curran just died. He's like 85 years old. They all come in threes, by the way. And Tim Curry. I mean, I don't know if Tim Curry ever knew Dolly Parton. Maybe he ran into her. I don't know. But these are actors and actresses and singers that really don't exist in the industry anymore. I mean, I've been watching a lot of videos lately, a lot of movies on Netflix. The acting really sucks. The actresses are ugly, by the way. A lot of times the actors are much better looking than the actresses. They get like these ugly ass actresses to play like these leading roles. It's so weird. Like, I know they say beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but these actresses are just freaking ugly. And the acting is just so fake and it's not real. And the chemistry sucks and the kissing's not real. And it's just, it's awful. It's really awful. And I just, you know, I really hope that one day we will see another Dolly Parton or someone close to her. I always say that because I'm I'm in the opera profession. It's very hard to find the next Pavarotti. It's very hard to find the next Renee Fleming or Maria Callas. They're like a dime a dozen. And every time we hear these operas or these arias, we try to compare, Pavarotti to this person or Renee Fleming to this person. You really can't, because Pavarotti had a unique talent. Maria Callas had a unique voice. Renee Fleming has unique talents too. So, Dolly Parton was just a very unique person. But as I said, we honor her, we memorialize her, we don't mourn for her, we don't cry for her. In Judaism, we actually don't mourn, we memorialize. The Mourner's Kaddish, as we say in Hebrew, is a reflection of memorializing life. It's not supposed to be sad, it's supposed to be uplifting and happy. You want to speak well of the dead, you never speak ill of the dead. You want to always speak good things of the dead and always bring up beautiful stories. My grandfather's yahrzeit is coming soon, and he'll be dead like 5 years. And I've talked about my grandfather to an extent on the show, and I memorialize him. I talk about him every day in a good light. I don't talk about how he was sick or how he died. No, I talk about the funny things that we used to do, our little jokes, our little isms that we had. I always talk about my grandmother and how I wish she was alive today, because she would tell the chefs how to make the food in the restaurants, and she always knew where to sit at a restaurant. She was such a beautiful woman, my grandmother, my mother's mother. But that's, you want to live, remember those moments. So we have to remember Dolly Parton as the inspirational woman that she was, as well as Tim Curran as an inspirational man that he was. And it is an honor to take on the role of the Doctor in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's an honor to sing at the Grand Ole Opry where Dolly Parton used to sing. And again, we just keep memorializing them. And sometimes they actually end up being more famous dead than alive. But she was very famous when she was alive. She's going to be even more famous now that she's passed away. We're not going to take a break, but I am going to go into my second affiliate sponsor. Thank you, Donald Willinger, for reminding me, rncstore.com/ALL. Usually I go from one sponsor to another with a commercial break, but this is a great nutritional center. Donald Willinger, thank you for your support with Dr. Richardson. Actually, he's not a doctor, it's Mr. Richardson. But rncstore.com/ALL. ALL is the code. If you don't put an ALL, you do not get the 10% discount. So if you type in out rncstore.com/ALL, it goes straight to that discount code. It goes straight to the 10%. Guys, I have been using these products for years. The apricot seeds are amazing. Helps to prevent against cancer, helps prevent against immunity. There's weight loss products in there. And there's always specials going on, always summer specials. Labor Day is coming up. We got Labor Day specials coming up. This is a great way to really kind of detox before you eat that Labor Day hot dog or that Labor Day hamburger. As I told you, I'm Jewish. I keep strictly kosher. Take a look at some of the ingredients that are in these kosher hot dogs. It's all full of sodium. It's all preservatives. It's all seed oils. It's very bad for you. It's okay to have it once a year. If you're on a GLP-1, you can totally take these. It doesn't mix with your GLP-1. You'll actually lose more weight mixing this with a GLP-1, whether you're taking GLP-1 sub-Q or whether you're taking it internally or orally. But please, guys, get on this. Go to the website, get the 10% off, and it'll be great. It'll be awesome. Yeah, the Jewish New Year is coming up. I always talk about that closer to the Jewish New Year. Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is early this year. It is going to be, it's actually on 9/11. Rosh Hashanah is 9/11. It's 9/11 to the 12th. It's on Shabbat this year. So that means the service is going to be longer than usual, guys. But you know what? It's our Jewish New Year. And it's very important that everybody come. But I implore the Jews to come twice a year. I call them the twofers. They come for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur and never see them again. I'm trying to encourage more of my Jewish people, especially my young friends, to go to synagogue, to go to Chabad, to go to conservative shul. If you don't like the wokeness of the politics, go to Chabad. They don't discuss politics at Chabad. They don't discuss politics in Orthodox synagogue. They won't do it. They focus more on the Torah portion, the portion of the week. If they know the audience, they'll talk politics a little bit. But go to shul more than twice a year. If you can go every week, even better. If you can go once a month, even better. But it's about, the steps. You have to, you have to go more than once. If you don't go more than once, I mean, it's more like you're doing it because you have to, not because you want to. Don't make Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur an obligation. Do it because you want to. If you are running for office, do not go to Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur service and campaign. This is not a time to campaign. If you want to secretly tell someone you're running for office, you do it outside of the synagogue. You don't do it in the synagogue. You're not allowed to bring any pamphlets or any type of paraphernalia at any synagogue. Please do not wear, vote for such and such in synagogue on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. It's very disrespectful to God, and it's very disrespectful to the other people that are in there, because not everybody will have your same political beliefs. We go to Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur we go to Rosh Hashanah to start a new year, and we go to Yom Kippur to cleanse our sins. Do not commit a sin in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and do not commit the sin after Yom Kippur like most Democrats do. So if you're going to a synagogue and you're running for office, go there because you want to. Go there from the beginning of the service to the end, and just come at the end of the service like you did something. No, that happening, and I will call you out. I don't like that. Be a part of it. Be involved. There's a wonderful event this Sunday in Ohio. It's called the Hebrew One World Day. They have it every year at the Cleveland Cultural Center. They're representing gardens, so each garden represents a country. We are representing Israel there. We are representing Hebrew Day. And there will be people in the parade. I'll be in the parade and other people. It is supposed to be a phenomenal event. They have it every year. They also do the phone banking, and it's called Super Sunday for the Federation. So wait for the Federation to make money as well. But it's hosted by the Cleveland Cultural Gardens also in conjunction with the Cleveland Jewish Federation. So if you're in the Cleveland area and you've never been, I advise you to go. It's an all-day thing I think the parade starts from like 11 in the morning all the way to 6 p.m. The parade is from noon to 1:30, and then you can tour the gardens the rest of the evening. And there'll be food there, refreshments, and so forth. But please, guys, very, very important that you go to this event and be a part of history and be a part of the cultural gardens. Also, don't forget, we are in candidate mode. We are in campaign season from now until November. As you know, I personally work for, and of course I've endorsed my good friend Tim Fazenbaker, who's running for Baltimore County Council, District 9. Let's put up his QR code. There we go. Tim Fazenbaker is running in a very hardcore MAGA America First district. He is running against a Black Muslim who wears a hijab, who supports Islamic ideology. Her name is Jamaluddin. Not Wade, Jamaluddin. That's her real last name. You won't see her real last name on the ballot, but her real last name is Jamaluddin. My friend Amy Mack knows this very well. We can't have a Jamaluddin or Islamic jihadism or Islamic ideologies in the state of Maryland, in Baltimore County, and in this district. We need to have conservatives in this district. This is a very conservative district. This is Dundalk, Edgemere, Sparrows Point. Please go to timfazenmaker.com. Donate today. He's getting massive donations from people even outside of the state, including myself and others. So please, guys, go to timfazenmaker.com, make a donation today. And of course, we will have Justin Murphy back in our program, but he is running for U.S. Senate. He is the Republican nominee for U.S. Senate, New Jersey. Let's put up his QR code. Let's put up Justin Murphy's QR code. Yeah, things have been a little delayed today. Well, when my producer gets that going, then we'll put up his code. So it's Justin Murphy, and then after that is Damon Galdo for Congress, CD1. Got to donate to Damon Galdo as well. He's actually working with Justin Murphy. They're doing a lot of town halls. They're doing a lot of events together. There'll be times where Damon Galdo's campaign manager, Jack Brangan, he'll be taking over a couple of my shows just to live stream some of the town halls that are going on. There's a town hall September 15th. So Jack Brangan will be taking on my show to live stream that town hall with Justin Murphy and Damon Galdo. And then before we go, we have an ad TSD basketball tournament. I will put up the, Damon Sherrod will put up the promo for that.
You've been waiting in the shadows too long with a fire inside that's burning strong. They told you sit down, stay in line, but this world was built by those who tried. Every dream starts with a spark in the dark. Every change leaves a mark on the heart.
Which is fine.
It's your time, your time.
And just to be honest with you, we're not dealing with the problems. These are problems. These our outlets have problems. You know, I'm in a different state than Damon. But we have a big promo event coming up. We'll keep posted on that. Everybody, don't forget, we are live every single Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We have the Pulse every Wednesday night from 8 to 9:30. Of course, my shows every first and third Tuesday of the month and every Thursday night. We have some great guests coming on my show coming up. We have Claire Lopez coming up. She's huge. She used to work for the CIA. She's big on Israeli-Iran counterterrorism. So you really want to stay tuned for Claire Lopez. She's a brilliant mind. And we have some other other candidates coming up that I will be interviewing as well. I'll be on a couple of podcasts myself, promoting the podcast, promoting the network. And we are getting some new podcasts coming in September. If you're interested in being a podcaster, go on americaspulsenetwork.com. Click on the podcaster application, fill out the form. If you're interested in sponsoring my show or the entire network or any of the shows, please go to americaspulsenetwork.com and look on the sponsorship form, click on it, and fill out everything that's there. If you want to be an affiliate sponsor, we welcome that as well. If you want to just sponsor my show, Damon's show, or the whole network, or if you just want to sponsor the Pulse, we do that for you. Or you'll be able to do that once you fill out the form. We are open to everyone. We do go through a process, but we are open to anyone applying. Thank you guys so much for watching. As you know, we have covered a lot of news and a lot of territory today. And I hope that everybody has a great rest of the week. I'll be back next week, guys. Okay. I don't know for some. Okay, now they came up very fast, but it doesn't matter. But thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for listening. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, Elena, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Parler, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Alexandra, thanks you for watching tonight's Alexandra Levine Live podcast. See you at the next packed show, from breaking news to informative topics that will keep you informed. So please click the subscribe button to get notified for upcoming episodes. If you like what the Alexandra talked about, then share the Alexandra Levine Live podcast with others. Alexandra also looks forward to seeing you on the next upcoming episode.